Grace is not a license to do whatever we want. And, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about when I moved from Arizona and I moved to California to get my driver's license in California when I went to university there. And I got one just like this. Our friend, I'm a card holder. You guys remember her. So, I went and got a California driver's license. And friends, I don't know if you've ever been to the California DMV. It's an interesting place. There's all sorts of people there. It's like every storybook character was all in one room trying to get a driver's license. It was like the people of Walmart met these other people and this other thing, and they met a LARPing, convention and a bunch of other stuff. It was like all in one spot. I was like, this is crazy. These people are driving on the roads around me? Wait, I'm one of these people? But see, you have to get this license so that you can go and you can do whatever you're allowed to do. And see, sometimes people, they take the grace of God and they start to use it as a license to do whatever because God will forgive me. God will forgive me. And so they go and they use it as a license. They use it like a get out of hell free card. Oh, you guys have never done that? Okay, cool. You guys online, you guys know what I'm talking about. See, this is the problem, is that we don't want to treat the high price that was paid for the gift of grace and love and salvation. We don't want to treat it with a flippancy that's like this. We don't want to treat it like a license to do whatever we want, because in that last Hail Mary moment, I'm going to say, God forgive me, and I'll make it just into the gates of heaven. Friends, that's not what we should be banking on. That's not what we're called to do. Romans 6 says it like this. Let not sin, therefore, reign in your mortal body. Do not make you obey its passions. Do not present your members to sin as instruments for unrighteousness, but present yourselves to God for those who have been bought from death to life, and your members to God as instruments for righteousness. For sin will have no dominion over you, since you are not under law, but under grace. Praise the Lord. The Lord be praised that we're under grace and not the law. But at the same time, we can't allow that to be a license for us to go and to live in sin, in ruts of destruction. I shared before about this concept, and actually we read it in Greg Crochel's book in one of our life groups last semester, this idea of these ruts that get put into our life. It's this sin path that get put into our life. Now, as a kid that grew up out here, before all the houses were here, there was a bunch of desert. And we would run around in the desert in four-wheelers and trucks and all sorts of stuff. And if you got into deep sand, you get pulled right into these ruts, right into the ruts that were there. And see, that's the same thing in our life spiritually, is that so many times there are these things that are ruts in our life from old behaviors that we used to do that were sinful ones. And we're trying to go on this other path. And if we get too close to those things, we'll get sucked right back down into those ruts. How many people know what I'm talking about? And it's one of those things where God has talked about, hey, no, I've called you to this other mentality, to this other way of living, so let's live over here on the high road. And we're like, but God, it's easier down over here. It's easier over here. And suddenly, shloomp, right into the ruts. You ever been there? Man, I know I have. And here's the thing. Whenever you get in the ruts, man, it's bad news. It's bad news. I mean, I've been buried up to the bottom of my frame in sand. And it's like the more you scoop out the sand, the more the sand comes in. And you just get deeper and deeper. And the faster you try to spin your wheels, the more stuck you get. You guys know what I'm talking about? And this happened to me back in May. I was with a bunch of pastors in Mexico. And we were there, and it was really funny because it had happened to me previously at that same exact place back in time when my friend Randy Gillespie had helped pull me out. But we literally had to all the pastors had to get out of the van and push the van out of the sand to get out of being stuck. And there's all sorts of analogies that are here that you should take all your burdens and cast them onto Jesus so that you can get out of where you're at. That you need people to help you get out of those ruts sometimes. And it takes a lot of effort, more effort than it took to get in the ruts, to get out of the ruts. And so here's the thing, friends. Let's not get stuck in those ruts. Let's not use grace as a license, but instead we would make the decision that On Christ, the solid rock, I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. And see, if we treat it like that and we stay connected and stay standing on the rock of Jesus Christ, then we won't fall into those ruts that are there. We won't fall into the ruts.